MrBeast. What emotions does this name evoke for you? Personally, I have only the most positive feelings. This is a person who has conquered YouTube, literally the showman of the entire platform. And many of his videos genuinely make me cry, especially the ones where he helped people regain their sight and hearing. Forgive me, but when you see things like that, you can't help but agree with all the commenters who say Jimmy deserves a monument. If he doesn't deserve it now, then who does, right? As you can tell, I have nothing but the highest opinion of MrBeast. However, here we usually talk only about cartoons and animated series. And MrBeast has just recently launched a new channel specifically for his animation projects, Beast Animation, where he's releasing his animated series, MrBeast's Laboratory. And it is total cringe. It's boring, nonsensical, pumped up with TikTok-level speed and hyper-acceleration so you can't understand a thing, and on top of that, it's all just a toy commercial. You'd be hard-pressed to find a show with storytelling done this badly. And I'm genuinely surprised because this is MrBeast we're talking about. Practically a synonym for quality on YouTube, someone who really pours money and soul into all his videos. So how did a legendary YouTuber like MrBeast end up with a cartoon of such questionable quality? Jimmy is the only blogger who has the means to make the coolest and highest quality videos on all of YouTube. The budget for just one of his videos is bigger than the entire season of Has-Been. And yes, to be fair, he wasn't always this wealthy. He used to make videos about things like cutting water for 10 hours, recorded Minecraft Let's Plays with the Bandicam watermark, just like any self-respecting blogger destined for popularity, lived at his parents' house, and I'm sure this kind of situation followed him every single day. When MrBeast first announced the release of his animated series, I was, to put it mildly, excited. Yes, MrBeast has long been much more than just a YouTuber or just a brand. So the release of something animated under the MrBeast brand was pretty much expected. But still, come on, it's MrBeast! Everything he does is done in a cool way. And when MrBeast had just managed to launch the Beast Animation YouTube channel, he hadn't even released anything yet, and there were already 7 million subscribers before a single video came out. What am I doing? Yeah, I know, it's silly to be jealous of something like that or even think about it since he's the most popular person on the internet. But still, I'm human too, right? And then the trailer for the animated series MrBeast Lab comes out. So what's the plot? Jimmy and his MrBeast team discovered that strange monsters are attacking Earth. And he did what any YouTuber would do. He built a high-tech scientific laboratory 100 levels deep beneath his studio, creating all sorts of strange creatures to fight the monsters. Unfortunately, none of that stopped him from being kidnapped in the trailer. And now Jimmy is trapped in his own high-tech lair. And first of all, Beast once again proves that he's a mad, evil genius. Just like in those creepy videos where, like the Warden of Super Strength, he wiped out humanity in the name of a challenge. So essentially, the main character of the series isn't MrBeast himself, but his channel's logo, the beast with the purple lightning bolts. And in the context of the series, since he's creating monsters to fight against strange shadowy entities called the Veil, and the fact that MrBeast's logo has turned into Panthera, a big muscular blue saber-toothed cat, basically Jojo Gamble, well, it actually makes sense and looks pretty cool. And since in the trailer, which also serves as episode 0, the creatures kidnapped Beast, Panthera, who had just been born, immediately rushed into battle with one goal, to save MrBeast. And as you can see on the screen, the designs of all the creatures and pretty much everything else are really bright and colorful. I actually really like them, especially Panthera. And the animation with all these effects is more than pleasant. The fight scenes are just awesome, even though there are some frame drops at certain moments. So what's the problem, you might ask? After all, if everything is so cool, there's MrBeast, cool designs, and Panthera as a giant Jojo cat. There are fight scenes and they're beautiful, plus the characters are cool. But the thing is, guys, it's about the plot. And really about how the whole work is put together. Almost the entire series is made for kids with hyperactivity. You might seriously get a headache from how fast everything is happening. And considering that everything is also colorful and neon bright, even if it's beautiful, well, good luck not having a seizure. In just 3 or 4 minutes of any episode, they manage to show the backstory, dialogues packed with jokes, a bunch of characters who appear just once, if not to sell toys, several battles, transformations, power-ups, and much more. And all of this in less than 4 minutes. And of course, there are the dumb, sudden, supposedly cool catchphrases. The first time you watch this, your brain will literally melt. The most surprising thing is, I wouldn't really be shocked to see projects like this on YouTube. We have tons of content farms, with cartoons about brain rot creatures or pirated versions of the digital circus, and so on. But this is MrBeast. But aside from the mind-blowing storytelling, which will leave you completely confused the first time around, I have some serious questions about another aspect of this show. The thing is, the animated series MrBeast Laboratory is nothing more than an advertisement for his branded Beast Labs toy line. And all the creatures you see on screen, the various metallic forms of Panther, the other little swarms, and the other hybrids of local creatures, are all those very same toys. MrBeast actually buried one of those golden panthers under the Sphinx in his video about Egypt. So if in future episodes Panther turns gold instead of metallic, now you know where it all comes from. And considering that the series was created solely to sell toys, it would be wrong not to talk about them. Beast Labs is a line of children's kits for creating monsters in a laboratory, released by Moose Toys. The idea behind this toy line is not just a figurine, but a whole assembly ritual where the child gets to feel like a scientist creating a beast. And this is how it works. You have a play laboratory, a plastic futuristic reactor. You pour liquid into it, usually water, and add various colorful reagent serums. The machine makes sounds, emits smoke, and flashes lights, as if a real experiment is taking place. And in the end, a monster is born from the reactor, a figurine of some mutant animal, a shark, a tiger, a lizard, and so on. Plus, there are different sub-series within this brand. Just like swarms, they're small and cute, and the hybrids, at first they're all completely purple, but after you run the experiment, you get a unique monster. You never know what color it will be or what characteristics it will have. There are tons of instructions explaining what each color means, what powers the monster will have, and so on. And there's also an element of randomness. You never know which one you'll get, and if you happen to get a golden beast by chance, congratulations. You've just made a few $1,000s. And the beasts from the hybrid series can actually swap out different body parts however you like. You detach and reattach them, just like in the second series, where they split the big gorilla in half. I think it's pretty obvious why these toys have become so popular among kids today. There's an element of randomness and rarity. In the mini laboratory, everything bubbles, smokes, and looks visually impressive. There's also a strong sense of involvement as the child gets to create the monster themselves. And also, each creature has its own lore, and its different color variations, which you might not even get, actually mean different abilities and powers for the character you randomly receive. Plus, it's perfect for TikTok, recording which MrBeast monster you get this time. It's funny that throughout all the reviews of MrBeast's cartoon, no one has talked about the toys, even though the cartoon wouldn't exist without them, and it's released solely for their sake. And the most ironic thing is that MrBeast didn't come up with this toy line, let alone the cartoon itself. He's simply a partner brand face associated with the toys, which are actually made by Moose Toys. And the cartoon itself is just a marketing universe created to sell these toys, so they have more lore. Even though the cartoon often mentions things like swarms, hybrids, laboratories, and pandemonium, no one really explains anything until you actually figure out what these toys are about. This purple pandemonium is actually a strange paint that covers each toy before it gets cleaned. You sort of put it in the laboratory, the process happens, and suddenly you get a random monster. So it's not really a cartoon, but just an advertising franchise they're trying to launch, like Bakugan or something. And here's the key point that really upsets me. Most of my viewers are well aware that the majority of our favorite cartoons were made specifically to sell toys. All their lore and stories were created by talented people. Yes, but their main goal was to sell as many colorful character toys to kids as possible. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, Bakugan, Biker Mice from Mars, Ben 10, and so on. The last one, in particular, made a real splash as a series and brand with a huge number of highly sought-after toys. Seriously, the concept of Ben 10 from the perspective of selling toys to viewers is genius. After all, the main character is instantly all the coolest aliens, and according to the lore, there are millions of them. And each of these series, even without the toys, is forever etched in our memory and in our hearts. Yes, people are still nostalgic for He-Man 40 years later and get upset when weird sequels are made. And Ben 10 fans have been waiting 1,000 years for an adult version of Ben with an R rating, with blood and something more mature. And since the studio isn't giving them that, they make fan versions themselves. Or well, Chakatrix. That's for the more sophisticated fans. All these shows were great stories, even without the need to buy the toys. We might never have bought a single one, but still be die-hard fans who know every episode by heart. The characters' personalities, the comics, the canon, and the retcons. And Beast Labs just can't boast about any of that, plain and simple. Throughout all the episodes, regardless of their quality, which we'll talk about, you can really feel that the whole point of the show is just to sell you all these swarms and hybrids. Even though MrBeast advertises his chocolate in every one of his videos, the videos themselves aren't made solely to sell it after all. But the cartoon is practically screaming about it. And you can't make sense of the lore unless you're a fan of these toys. They'll just mention some swarms in passing for a second. Who are they? They won't tell you. It's just another toy line. At the moment, not that many episodes have been released. And the show itself isn't even overseen by MrBeast, but by the same company that's developing the toy brand. About 10 episodes are planned, and in total it will be a 30-minute cartoon that can be perfectly sliced into short episodes, shorts, and TikToks. And even though you can tell they're really putting effort into the show, the action scenes showcase a lot of interesting things. Style, camera angles, slow motion at just the right moment. And overall, the effects are really impressive and the designs look original and interesting. I miss the times when the main characters in cartoons were these buff superheroes. And even considering how brief everything is, you can still see the characters' personalities. They're all different, unique, and try to complement each other well. The most frustrating thing is that the whole story of the series is presented in a way that's nothing like how an animated show advertising toys should be, as I mentioned earlier. In one episode, Panther wakes up and defeats the monsters. The next episode starts and it turns out he doesn't know anything and they have to figure out how to save Jimmy from these creatures. What these creatures are, we're never actually told. What is this shroud anyway? Who even cares? Swarms. Haha, go watch MrBeast videos so he can advertise them. But hey, jokes from the banana and the primate with spider legs, that's exactly what we need right now. Then there's a sudden explosion of one character, and we switch to another character. And really, you could make 100 episodes like this for every level. And then at the end of some episode, after the battle, Panther activates a new fire mode, but there's no need to fight anymore. So the form isn't even shown in battle, so that someone would want to buy that toy. But it still has to be shown, yeah. And sure, maybe everyone in the world knows who MrBeast is, but let's say someone who's just an animation fan finds this cartoon. They won't understand a thing. And thank God if they don't have a seizure from the speed on their first viewing. Because you really only start to enjoy this cartoon when you watch it for the second or third time, since the first time is just shocking. And still, I want to believe that Jimmy will want to make a truly high-quality series, or that Moose Toys will learn from their mistakes so that, haha, I actually like the cartoon. Because technically speaking, it's actually well made. The whole problem is just in the storytelling and how it presents itself. For now, I have only one explanation. It's all the decision of the marketers from the Beast team. And since they managed to create such a brand, and there really are a lot of different toys, hybrids, swarms, big toys, and many others, it means these guys really know what they're doing. All that's left is to wait and see what comes of it next. And what do you think, my connoisseurs of the beautiful and the animated? Well, I'll see you in the next cartoon.